So let's take a look at access tiers. And there are three types of tiers for standard storage. We have cool, hot, and archive. And so you're going to have this option between cool and hot and archive. Archive might not show up depending on how you configure your storage account. So for example, if you use a particular type of replication, that might not be available to use with archive. So just be aware if that option doesn't show up, you might have to change some of your settings. Let's quickly walk through the three options. So hot is for data that's accessed frequently and has the highest storage costs and lowest access costs. So again, it's for data that's frequently accessed or in active use, or data that's staged for processing and eventual migration to the cool access tier. Then you have the cool tier. This is data that's infrequently accessed and stored for at least 30 days. Lower storage costs, higher access cost. And the use case here is for short-term backup and disaster recovery datasets or older media content not viewed frequently anymore, but is expected to be available immediately when accessed. And I think there's actually a third use case, which is large data sets that need to be stored cost effectively while more data is being gathered for future processing. Then we have the archive tier. This is for data that's rarely accessed and stored for at least 180 days. It's the lowest storage cost, but it also has the highest access cost. And so its use case would be long-term backup, secondary backup, archival data sets, original raw data that must be preserved even after it's been processed into its usable form, and compliance and archival data that needs to be stored for a long time and is hardly ever accessed. So just make use or note of the cool is at the least 30 days and the archive is at least 180 days. I should have highlighted those for you. I don't know why I didn't. And so just some other things you need to know. So for account level tiering, any blob that doesn't have an explicitly assigned tier infers the tier from the storage account access tier settings. So you can set blobs at different storage levels. Blob level tiering, you can upload a blob to the tier of your choice and change the tiers happen instantly with exception from moving out of archive. The concept of rehydrating, this is when you're moving a blob out of archive into another tier and can take several hours. You have the Blob Lifecycle management, so you can create rule-based policies for transitioning your data to different tiers. So after 30 days, we can move it to cool storage, and here is just the option here. You see where it says 30. I think 30 is the minimum days you have to choose, but I could be wrong. And so you have the options down below. So move to cool storage, move to archive storage, delete the blob. And just a few other things here. When a blob is uploaded or moved to another tier, it's charged at the new tier's rate immediately upon the tier change. So when you're moving to a cooler tier, the operation is billed as a write operation to the destination tier. And when the write operation per 10,000 and data write per gigabyte charges for the destination tier applies. When moving to a hotter tier, the operation is billed as a read from the source tier, and where the read operation, again, in the 10K, and the data retrieval, again, in gigabytes, charges for the source tier applies, and early detection charges for any blob moved out of the cool or archive tier may apply as well. And just lastly here, when we're talking about cool and archive early detection, any blob that is moved into the cool tier, so this is only for general purpose version 2 accounts, is subject to a cool early detection period of 30 days. And any blob that is moved into the archive tier is subject to an archive early detection of 180 days. And this charge is prorated. So, access tiers aren't the funnest thing to talk about, but there is all the information you need to know.